back to Shekinah Global News. Today we are here with Bishop Earl Fernandez, the Bishop from the Diocese of Columbus. We're so excited to have him here today at the Syro-Malabar Jubilee Convention. Bishop, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great to see so many Indian Catholics on fire with their faith all together, especially those of the Syro-Malabar tradition.
We're so happy to have you here too, and we love the absolutely amazing talk that you gave today. Quick question for you, Bishop. As our Syro-Malabar community continues to grow in America, how can we preserve our rich traditions while also helping younger generations feel that the church truly belongs to them?
Well, I think one of the things is in the home itself, to decorate the home, to have your devotional life in the home, preserving the Syro-Malabar spirituality. At the same time, to continue to attend Holy Qurbana, not simply to go to the most convenient Latin Rite parish. At the same time, the church is universal. No matter where we find ourselves in the world, the church seems to be there. The Blessed Sacrament is there. We share this one faith. So it's not an either or, but it's a both and. But as some of the panelists were speaking today, we're talking about integration. And I think this is the key. Not to form a silo, not to be defensive, or to seek simply to preserve ourselves, but to be truly a missionary church. What is it that the Syro-Malabar tradition has to offer to the Church in the United States in terms of reverence, in terms of respect for family, in terms of those cultural values? And at the same time, Syro-Malabar, especially children and young people, they go to school with other people who are not Syro-Malabar. So we preserve unity and diversity. We also say this part of our tradition is beautiful. I'd like to talk to you about it. So that is, it's not just about, oh, now I'm here in the United States, I have to be American. Because sometimes the temptation can be to absorb the worst of American culture, the individualism, the libertinism, or say, well, now I'm in a new country and I have to get ahead and I have to work hard in school and get a good job to make more money. But where does that leave us? It doesn't leave us very satisfied. Whereas tracing its origins to St. Thomas the Apostle, Syro-Malabar Church and tradition have beautifully preserved the faith, they preserved their liturgy. But to Americans, it's something new. Jesus is saying, I make all things new. So we want to bring this newness and this freshness of the tradition to a new generation, to a new peoples, and really be a church that goes forth as a missionary church to evangelize.
Here at the Syro-Malabar Convention, I've met someone who's very fascinated with the Syro-Malabar liturgy, the Holy Qurbana, and I'd love to know more about her and her experience with the Syro-Malabar Church. Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Mary King Kirchhoff. I'm a physician. I take care of children with disabilities.
That's amazing.
I was introduced to the Holy Qurbana by friends who are nurses and neighbors.
Oh.
I live not far from St. Thomas Cathedral. So I've been blessed to be able to go to several Holy Qurbanas there, and I find them very enriching. They're longer than what I'm used to in the Roman Catholic rite where I was brought up. But I find them especially beautiful. I've been to some in the Malabar language, and I've been to English ones. But what strikes me about the Qurbana is that I feel like I'm being brought up to heaven.
Oh, wow.
The music is beautiful. The participation of everybody around me was inspiring. The liturgy itself, there are some similarities but profound differences, but help me appreciate liturgy of the word in a different way. But even the expression of the Our Father, you do it a few times. The repetition is beautiful. It helps me concentrate and be aware of what I'm praying. And one of my very first Qurbana that I attended, I became aware of, was obvious to me, of the Jewish roots. The curtain is something that was brought from Judaism, and it helped me appreciate as well the ancient roots of the Holy Qurbana,
Yeah.
which I also really appreciate.
Do you really think there is room within the Syro-Malabar Church for someone who is not ethnically Indian, or someone who is from within the Syro-Malabar Church?
Yes, I have brought friends to St. Thomas.
Oh, really?
And I hope to have a pilgrimage this summer of other physicians and members of the Catholic CMA to go to the to go to St. Thomas for a Kurbana.
Today we're here with Brian Mundakil. He's one of the keynote speakers at the Jubilee Convention, and we're so excited to have him here today to talk to us. So how are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great. It's an awesome experience to see so many Syro-Malabar Catholics gathering here from all different parts of the country and celebrating our faith. So it's really beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful. So we heard that you're one of the keynote speakers and one of the panel discussion members. So how's that been going so far?
Yeah, just for full transparency, I did not give a keynote, but I was part of a panel. It was an Ask Me Anything panel. So basically, people could ask any questions related to the faith. And to be honest, there were some excellent questions. It's one thing that really inspired me is that there's a lot of people who are hungry to know more about God, not asking simple questions, but really seeking. And so that's beautiful to see that there's young people really seeking the faith and trying to understand more about God. So for me, I learned a lot and it was very inspiring.
That's absolutely amazing. We love that hunger, especially in our younger generations. So I also heard that you're the founder of Lumen Vitae. So could you just tell me a little bit about it? Everything, I guess, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm the co-founder, and together with some friends at Jesus Youth, we were doing mission trips to Haiti, and we just saw such a difficult situation for the people there. And we were thinking of how we can help. And Haiti has a very fragile education environment. And, for so many of us who come from Kerala, part of the reason why Malayalis are so successful is because of the fact that people like St. Chavra Kyriakos invested in education, made sure that all the kids were educated. And that really transformed the place that most of us are from. And today you see, we send people all over the world because of that gift of education. And so seeing that reality and need in Haiti, we thought, what's the best gift that we could give to these kids that nobody can take away? And that's education. Once you have knowledge, you have power and you can make decisions for yourself. So we started this organization called Lumen Vitae, and we work with several schools, we work with several dioceses, just to help these kids who otherwise would have no access to education, be able to go to school and be able to really become impact makers in their communities.
Perfect. Also, so now that you've created this organization entirely, what advice would you give to the younger generations about their Catholic faith, staying strong in their faith, and especially about education, right, and helping out others?
Yeah, personally, I was someone who took my education for granted. I was a solid B student throughout my life. But then when I went to Haiti and saw that there were so many kids who were hungry for just a chance to read and write, and it made me realize that I had this gift that was given to me, that God gave to me, not because I'm any better than these kids, but God gave it to me. And so I have a responsibility to give that gift back to the world, and especially to the poor. And so the message that I have is that, there are people out there who are hungry for your gifts and what you have to contribute into the world. And so the only way that we can set this world on fire is for all of us to get out there and be part of Christ's mission, feeding the hungry, caring for the sick, clothing the homeless. This is what Christ called us to. And so it's part of the challenge that God puts before us. And the reality is that we're so capable, but sometimes we limit ourselves. And so my message is, go beyond ourselves and really be a gift to the world.